Hey, 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 welcome to Paranormal to the Night. Ryan Edwards, where are you? Where are you? Back in a second.
Is it just me? Or is it getting crazier out there?
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Paranormal into the Night. I am Dino on the Late Late Horror Show. Had a guest scheduled, Ryan Edwards. Where are you? I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and give him a few minutes here. Otherwise, I'll end up dropping a link, and we'll talk about cryptids anyways. Derby Girl, what's going on? I see you just jumped in here. Good to see you. Kathy, hello, Kathy. Ginger is here. RTN. Denny, what's going on? Uh, the elusive smoking jacket. Yeah. Connie, Clary, what's going on? Harry Scott, what's going on? Travis DeLuca. Sam is here. Black Roses is here. John David, what's going on? Yeah, you know what? I'm going to get the link ready right now. Just Ocean, what's going on? Hey, everyone, going back to listening to my TV. Hey, everyone, going back to listen my TV. Okay, listening on your TV. Okay. Yes, you know what? I've got the link out to him. I've sent him a couple messages here. Not sure what's going on with Ryan Edwards, but I'm going to leave it at that, and hopefully he can jump on. If he jumps on at any time, Ryan, if you're watching, listen, I'm all hyped to talk about the cryptids and all the other things that we had to talk about. Zatemkia Falling Tree, greetings, dinner, and all my occasional friends. Good to see you, Zatemkia. Here is the link, just in case somebody wants to jump on and talk tonight about their paranormal experiences or anything else. Monster Radio. All right, Ryan Edwards, always great to see a fellow cryptozoologist. Monster Radio. Yes, I would love to talk to him. Have not. Trogdor, jump on that link. Hit that link. Come on and talk about your stories. But Napalm Seth, what's going on? Hey, everyone. Nice to hang out. Make sure you give the thumbs up. Make sure you guys subscribe. Hit that bell notification if it's your first time here. And yeah, this is going to be fun. Anyways, we always have fun here on the Late Late Horror Show and Paranormal into the Night. I just learned how Mothman became a what is that? Attaboy, Dino! Attaboy, Luther! I just learned how the Mothman became a gay icon. Love those crazy cryptids. Really? Well, you should come on and let me know about it. I have no idea what you're talking about. Is the Mothman a gay icon now, or are you just pulling my leg? But yeah, you know what? It's always disappointing when this happens. I had so many questions. I had a list of things I wanted to talk about with Ryan, and he's not here. And again, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. You still got time to jump on here, but yes. Hey, and if there's nothing to talk about after a little while here and nobody can chime on in or jump on in, then we'll do whatever. But good to see you, Monster Radio. I'd like to read an 80-page poem I wrote about Bigfoot. CM. An 80-page poem. Wow. Anyways, listen. We were going to talk about all kinds of things. There's so many different types of cryptids out there. And, am I an expert? By no means, but that's why I had Ryan ready to come on and talk about it. But I guess I'll change the thumbnail too if he doesn't pop on here. But I still would like him to say CJM, what is going on? Good to see you. But yeah, you guys are all bringing up good things. Ginger, she brought up what is that? The Alba Witch, a mini Bigfoot that steals apples. I never heard of that before. That's a new one to me. So you kind of got me. Trogdor, are you not able to hit a link? Uh, Here, I'm pasting it for you to join. I ask you all the time. Um, I would like to ask you why you were so upset because it was a comedy stream. Listen, I haven't played one in a long time yesterday. It's been a long time since I played a comedy stream, but something just for a little different. Hell, why the hell not? But listen, there are many, many Bigfoot type creatures all over the world, and from Bigfoot, the Yeti, the swamp ape down in Florida. You know what I find interesting is how you're not from Pennsylvania, Dino. Well, I'm close enough. I'm in Ohio. So, Wasp Woman, we watched that movie a long time ago on the channel. Uh, I sent a message to Emily an hour or so ago, no response yet. Could be busy at the hospital, RTN. Everybody continue to give prayers to Emily and her husband, Steve. So there you go. But I'm close enough to have maybe heard about that. But listen, the link is right there if anybody wants to join me. But yes, what I find interesting about all these, the Bigfoot cryptids, Bigfoot, Yeti, swamp ape, all these types of creatures are how they are adapted to their region. Okay, like cold weather, you're going to be bigger, more hairier, lots of fat, muscle. Um, Down in Florida, the swamp ape, less hair, more of a wild man type. Same in Texas, where in Louisiana, where the heat, and humidity is. I heard something. Maybe something paranormal is going on. Ryan, I see a bunch of links over there or messages over there, but I can't. It's across the room. So I don't know if you're having issues or what's going on. I should get up, you guys, and you can hear me talk. How about that? Why I get up and go read messages? This is on the fly. Listen, this is how this show goes. Let me go see what he's messaging me over there, and you will still hear me talk about this, although I'll be echoing a little bit. But listen, why are they adapted to different regions? Okay, I'll be on at 7:45. Sorry, I'm at work right now. Sorry, I thought it was Central. We'll be there in about 30 minutes. Okay, I'm going to put a thumbs up there, and hopefully he jumps on as soon as he's able to. And here I come back to my seat, my throne. Here I am. Yo, what's up, man? So, anyways, I tried it. I will try again. Well, you know what? He says he's going to be here in about 30 minutes. So hopefully, hopefully Ryan Edwards will be able to get in here. Skunk Ape. Yeah, comedy was a great change of pace. I liked it. Yes, yes, it's most certainly was. Um, Listen, I love the Great Gildersleeve. Who doesn't like a little bit of comedy? But we are the Late Late Horror Show, and we do revolve and circulate around horror, paranormal, mystery thrillers, even the detective. No, who doesn't like the detective ones? Johnny Dollar. But yes, yeah, my first question definitely. And hey, Jim Adams, what's going on? Um, yeah, Trogdor, if you can get on and talk just a little bit before the Ryan gets on here, that would be great. There you go. Let's see if I can get you. Trogdor, you there? Are you there, Trogdor? Okay, so again, you might have to mess with the settings below to see if you can change it up and get on. How come we don't talk about the most viewed video of Bigfoot having breasts? Check it out. Yes, the Patterson Gimlin footage, and I can't hear you, Trogdor. You're going to have to set your settings underneath your video where you see that little gear icon to the right audio and microphone settings. Yeah, Derby girl, listen. The most well-known Bigfoot video out there, the Patterson Gimlin, of course, it shows the breast. I mean, And it's listen, when you break down that video, and people's been doing it for decades, uh, how can you not look at that? The way the muscle moves, you can see the tendons and muscles move throughout. Yeah, don't worry about it, Trogdor. You're not going to be able to get on. You're having issues. It's okay. Um, but how can you not believe, when you see the breakdown of that? Yeah, there's a breast. Listen, I know you can make a prosthetic breast, but everything else that goes with that footage is just unbelievable. Listen, I've talked about it many times. Um, but again, my question is, why the hell is it that all these apes, Bigfoot type creatures are adapted for certain regions, you know? Um, and how have we not caught one yet? That is my number one question. My number one question. Um, Listen, it's tough when you open lines in a show like this, and it's hard to get guests to call in. Listen, I don't. There's only 27 here. How many people out of the 27 actually have paranormal experiences and actually want to come on and talk about them? So listen, let's talk a little bit about one of the fascinating ones, Dune. Let's talk about the Mongolian death worm, until we wait for Ryan Edwards to get on here. Um, but yeah, I guess he mixed up the Central Time and Eastern Time. But it's always posted Eastern. But hopefully he'll get on here. Let's see, what did she say? I give up. I'm getting permission denied everywhere. Okay, no, that's all right. That's all right, Trogdor. No worries, no worries. Um, I definitely was set to talk to Ryan Edwards, so I didn't have any stories or anything like that prepared. But let's talk about the Mongolian death worm, because I always think, listen, it's inspired Dune and many other stories. But the Mongolian death worm is a creature alleged to exist in the Gobi Desert. That's scary alone, right? Now, the creature first came to Western attention as a result of Roy Chapman Andrews' 1926 book On the Trail of Ancient Man. The American paleontologist described secondhand tales of the monster that he heard at the gathering of Mongolian officials. None of those present ever had seen the creature, but they all firmly believed in its existence and described it minutely. In 1983, a specimen of Tartar sand boa was shown to locals who claimed to have seen the Olgoi Kolkor, and they confirmed that it was the same animal, the Mongolian death worm. Interesting. So something that was never seen, but it's in myth and lore. It says appearance on the trail of the ancient man. Andrews cited Mongolian prime minister who, bloop, I keep hearing a bloop, who in 1922 described the worm. Oh, so he's seen it. The Mongolian prime minister, Dam Din Bazar, in 1922. It is shaped like a sausage about 2 feet long, has no head nor leg, and it is so poisonous. How would you know it's so poisonous? That merely to touch it means instant death. It lives in the most desolate parts of the Gobi Desert. That was his statement. I'm not sure how he knew it was so poisonous. I mean, he didn't touch it. I like the Mongolian feral cat, so grumpy looking and so fluffy that tail. Well, Australia has a super large worm, right? Um, well, listen, there are other places. Yeah, yeah. Trogdor, I'll give you another try. Are you there? Boom, boom, Trogdor. Um, And in 1932, Andrews published this information again in the book, The New Conquest of Central Asia, adding, it is reported to live in the most arid, sandy regions of the Western Gobi. However, did not believe in the creature's existence. The worm is said to inhabit the Western or Southern Gobi. In the 1987 book, oh God, I'm going on and on here. This is, yes, inspired Dune. They went looking for it in Destination Truth. with Josh Gates. But yeah, no sign of the worm. Just sent from Emily, just got home, did the MRI, but the doctor hasn't been by to tell us anything. Still can't walk. I know he will have to go rehab later. I still think he has had a stroke. Sorry to hear that. Prayers going out to Emily. Prayers going out to Emily. So, anyways, if anybody else wants to come on and join me just to talk, you don't even have to know anything about, just come on and join me. But let's see. There were some other ones I wanted to talk about. The Monkey Man of Delhi. That sounds like an interesting one. The Monkey Man of New Delhi, aka Kala Bandar, is an unknown anomaly which was reported to be roaming Delhi in mid 2001. The entire incident has been described as an example of mass hysteria in India. Yeah, we've had quite a few of those incidents over the years, right? Mass hysteria. I hear that. In May 2001, reports began to circulate in the Indian capital, New Delhi, around a strange monkey-like creature that was appearing at night and attacking people. Eyewitness accounts were often inconsistent, but tended to describe the creature as about 4 feet, covered in thick black hair. This sounds like a mini Bigfoot too, an Albawitch. Others, however, describe the monkey man as having a more vulpine snout and being up to 8 foot tall and muscular. That's quite the opposite of what they just described. It would leap from building to building. Over 350 sightings of the Kala Bandar were reported. Listen, I'm going to say that's two different creatures. Two different creatures. People even died when they leaped from the tops of buildings or fell down stairwells in a panic caused by what they thought was the attacker. At one point, exasperated police even issued artist impression drawings in an attempt to catch the creature. Listen here. The Monkey Man of New Delhi, if you got one that's very, very small, about 5 feet, and then they say there's another one that's hairy about 8 feet, that sounds like two different creatures to me. Am I wrong? Come on, people. Am I wrong? What's going on there? Am I wrong? Yeah, that's different. There's another primate here. I remember that monkey man stuff. Alba witch. Yes. No, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, Trogdor. In 1893, newspapers reported, says Derby Girl, the discovery of a hodog in Rhinelander, Wisconsin. Up there, probably stealing the cheese. It had the head of a frog, the grinning face of a giant elephant, thick, short legs set off by huge claws. The back, to be continued. Yeah, you know what? Lots of those throughout the years too, where they incorporate different parts of other animals. So very interesting. That's 1893. A lot of those reports were around that time, right? Right around the beginning of the century. Well, the last century, which is very interesting. But yeah. Anyways, Trogdor's trying to get in here again. Yeah, there's no audio there, Trogdor, so no worries. The orang mawas. In Malaysian folklore, the orang mawas, also known as the orang dalam, is an entity. Ooh, an entity. So here we go. Let me continue this. Hold on. Derby Girl. A dinosaur and a long tail with spears at the end. The reports were instigated by a well-known Wisconsin timber cruiser and prankster, Eugene Shepard, who rounded up a group of local people to... Well, she's continuing on with the story, Derby Girl. Way to plug along. Listen, there At the end of the 1800s and right at the beginning of the century, I think that was where a lot of logging, a lot of, you know, uh, forested areas, especially in the rainforested areas and stuff across the globe, were being torn down, for the future, for all kinds of things, for manufacturing, for who knows what, and dinosaur type creatures were said to have been seen. So, with that, I mean, were they still around? I think Ryan Edwards was going to talk about the dinosaurs. I wanted to ask him about that because they were sightings of dinosaurs at the end of the 1800. I mean, wrote a lot of sightings, and I think that was because of the deforesting that was going on and the tearing down of their habitats and stuff like that. So listen, yes, lots and lots and lots of information on that for sure. Dinosaurs, whether they still exist 100 years later, after we've torn or you know torn down the forest, or we didn't tear it down, but we demolished it, right? Um, let's see, Eugene Shepard, who rounded up a group of local people, continuing with Derby Girl's story, to capture the animal. The group reported that they needed to use dynamite to kill the beast. To kill the beast! A photograph of the remains of they should have got a photograph before they charred the beast. Of the charred beast was released to the media. It was the fiercest, strangest, most frightening monster ever to set razor sharp claws on the earth. It became extinct. Very interesting story there, Derby Girl. Extinct after its main food source. White bulldogs became scarce in the area. Local school mascots around the area are called the Hodeji. The Hodeji, yes. Huh. Interesting story. Hey, Terrence M. Ritchie, what's going on? Good to see you. Good to see you. Seth the Welsh is here. Trogdor, is your audio working? Is your audio working? Gotta love it. Gotta love it. So anyways, so this orang dalam or orang mawas in Malaysian folklore it's an entity reported to inhabit the jungle of Johor in Malaysia. It is described as being about 10 feet tall. Holy hell. Bipedal and covered in black fur. Sounds like another version of the Bigfoot Yeti or what have you, which the local Orang Asli people call Hantu Juranga Gigi, which translates as snaggle-toothed ghost. Recorded claims of Mawas sightings date back to the 1871. Some speculate the creature may be a surviving Gigantopithecus, or at least a folk memory of the animal. While the scientific community tends to dismiss the sightings as misidentified sun bears, the hell with that. I hate when they say like it's this, when we know damn well what some of these creatures look like. Like there's been so who knows with this orang mawas. Listen, there's been sightings of these creatures everywhere. Okay, so but what really bites me in the ace, so to speak. Hey, Rob Fred H. Jr. Rob Fred H. Jr., the age of Aquarius started officially astronomically in 2021. This should be taken into consideration when doing magic these days, as it is having a major effect on things. That's very cryptic-like, but not cryptid-like. So very interesting. Satemki of falling tree creatures that look like dinosaurs but keep In mine, at turn of the 20th century, very few people knew what a dinosaur looked like, and many surprised had be incorrectly assembled. Had to be incorrectly assembled. Um, I'm trying to figure out exactly what you mean by that, but yeah, a lot of Bigfoot sightings, definitely right there with the whole. It's a bear, it's a grizzly. You're seeing something of that sort. Uh, that's the excuse given for a lot. Listen, and I've seen video footage of what they say is a Bigfoot, and you could clearly see that it's a bear. But you get to some of these shows, and like on A&E, Intro Travel Channel, all your typical channels that show all of these cryptid, Bigfoot type creatures, and they'll put a trail cam in. And I remember one, I forget what show it was, Bigfoot Hunters or something, who knows. And it did catch a Bigfoot, and it was sitting down. Okay. This was kind of a popular video, maybe about a decade back. And it was sitting, and I'll give them that with it sitting like to its back on its butt. Um, from the back, it kind of looked like something. You're like, what the hell is that? But then when it gets up, you can see that it starts off on all fours and it turns around and then it walks away. You could tell it's a bear. It's a bear, 100% a bear. Um, so very interesting. Let's see. Derby Girl says, mine is a total hoax. Eugene caught one alive and charged 10 cents for people to see it in his shed. He had connected wires to it to make it move. He would then shoo patrons out of the shed too. Uh, Derby Girl, that's a big, big thing, especially around the turn of the century, the last century, not this one, the last one. So here we go. Looks like we got Ryan Edwards. So let me bring on Ryan Edwards. We still have a good hour to talk. So hey Ryan, what's going on?
Hey there, so sorry about being late. I'm doing good.
Okay, that's good. That's good. No. I sent Eastern time, but I understand how time zones get messed up. So I totally understand. I'm glad you made it here,
Of
and
course.
good to have you.
It's always good to be on.
Okay, a little hard to hear you. Are you using just the mic on your laptop, probably?
Let me see. I'm using.
Okay, now you muted yourself. Okay,
Yeah, let me check my audio because I'm using my. Let's see.
yeah, probably the laptop mic. It's fine. You should be good. So, listen, let's just start talking, right?
Of course.
Listen, Ryan Edwards is he's a cryptozoologist. He's an author of Cryptids of the World. He also does a podcast called the Cryptid Chronicles podcast right here on YouTube. Check that out. But right below in the description below is his link to his website where you can find everything. You can find his book, his Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff, YouTube channel. Is all that correct, Ryan Edwards?
Yes, it's all correct.
Okay, cool. Yeah, Trogdor, you're going to have to get out of here because I'm sorry, but it's not working for you, the audio, and I do have my guest on now. So another time, but you've tried 15 times and it's not working. So anyways, definitely good to have you. Trogdor's got a story, man, to tell, and every week I hear it. It's very deep, and wanted to get around. But listen, uh, where did this all begin with you, man? I mean, I read up on it. I think it was your childhood. You just got fascinated with the whole thing and got caught up in it, right?
Yeah, like what I always like to say is I was like every little boy. Loved dinosaurs, loved monsters, mysteries. I guess I never grew out of that. I kind of became uh like fell into the world of cryptozoology with that, with my love for mysteries, the natural world, and especially paleontology, looking at the fossil record and seeing how that connects to cryptozoology and these mysterious enigmatic creatures seen around the world.
Right. Yeah, yeah. So you just had a love of all of the, like, just like me, the books you would see, the shows you would watch, and yeah, what kid doesn't want to, be part of all of that imaginary world? But when you really dig deep into it, it's not so imaginary, right?
Yeah,
Um, and I know you had a love of dinosaurs, and I did touch on that a little bit here. Uh, we can start there. What are your thoughts on dinosaurs? Maybe not still existing, but maybe still existing. But I know the late 1800s, early 1900s. I don't know if you've heard what I was going on, or a little rant a little bit ago. But a lot of deforesting was going on, and there were a lot of sightings of dinosaurs roughly around that period, right? Am I wrong?
yeah, like especially some one famous story is the Ceratosaur of the Arctic Circle. Like back, I believe it was around turn of the century, late 1800s, early 1900s. People up in Alaska said they were seeing a Ceratosaurian dinosaur up there. Ceratosaurs are theropods, but with a nose horn. You know, it's like a little crest on the end of the muzzle. And
Yeah.
people said they were seeing that up there at that time.
Really? Up in Alaska then?
Yeah,
Okay, okay. Yeah, pterodactyl-like creatures. I mean, they've been seen even to this day. I know there's still sightings of pterodactyl type creatures flying around, but is that a possibility that dinosaurs still could be around?
it's a possibility that there's non-avian dinosaurs still persisting in the modern world. But with me, possibility and probability.
Okay.
Science is about probability, not possibility. Anything's possible, but is it probable?
Right.
And with the existence of non-avian dinosaurs in the modern world, I think it's very improbable because, for instance, let's look at the cryptids seen out in the Congo and places of Africa. The Mokema Bembe, the Milanatoka, the Numagona Monin. All these creatures are being seen down there. They're referencing what we thought dinosaurs looked like during the 1960s and before.
Hmm.
Like sauropods are describing tail dragging and large, sluggish creatures that live in swamps. Or when they just describe theropods, they describe theropods that are up straight, like in the land before time or something. But now, paleontologically, we know dinosaurs didn't look like that. We now know they have feathers. We now know they were actually warm blooded. They didn't have to go lay in the sun, and they weren't sluggish, giant uh, lizards. They were actually more almost kind of mammal like to an extent.
Hmm.
And but what the eyewitnesses and what these stories are showing is what we call a cultural anachronism. They're referencing what we thought they were once like, not what they are once are now. So it's kind of a weird thing there, especially with
Right.
with pterodactyls and pterosaurs as well.
Yeah. Well, and I know there were sightings of like brontosaurus type creatures and stuff like that, which lends to what you just said there. Why were they, like, we've learned a lot since then, covered with hair, feathers and stuff like that. And these were your typical Hollywood type dinosaurs, that they were seeing back in the day, right? So what does that say about, you know, the thought of even, something like that still existing? I mean, is it just the imagination of people's minds, or what's going on there?
It's a possibility. It could be imagination, or it could be people putting their belief sets onto the natural world. Like the time when, especially I look at Africa for a lot of it. The time when these dinosaur stories are being referenced, they saw Africa as the dark continent, a continent full of mysteries and enigmatic creatures that we never find anywhere else, which is true. But
Hmm.
at the same time, it kind of has a romanticism to it, which cryptozoology has a lot of romanticism to it in the first place. This is what a lot of people see it as monster hunting.
Right.
Not to say science, but it truly is.
Yeah.
But with these supposed like dinosaurs and other cryptids seen around the world, you have to kind of look at it from a realistic point of view sometimes. You'll be like, okay, the imagination and exploration and the romanticism is one thing, but then the science and the reality of it's a totally different aspect of it. And you have to look at it from that more realistic possibility of it, the probability of it, not just the possibility.
Yeah, well, yeah, and they both tell me that nothing's been found or, anything like that. So they're probably not out there anymore, and they're probably extinct, or, some of what people see are just the imagination of people's minds. You know what I mean? Which, I mean, listen, I would believe more so of the dinosaur type creatures that you see in the oceans. Like, we talk about Loch Ness, which is a whole different story because
Yeah,
that's been blown into like uh Hollywood proportions, just for one incident, really. I mean, there were many other incidents, but the one in particular that blew up, and everybody's like, there's a dinosaur type creature in Loch Ness. But you know is that really the case? I mean, what are your thoughts on the Loch Ness? We could touch on that.
with Loch Ness, it's hard because it's such an awesome creature and such a well-known cryptid. With Nessie, the possibility of it being a plesiosaur, that's the main reason the main candidate for Nessie is a plesiosaur. It's a
Right.
possibility that this some type of saurian has survived in the waters of the loch, because of course Ness is connected to the ocean by the river Ness. So
Right.
maybe it's some type of marine reptile that moved into the loch.
Okay. Yeah. And listen, I can really believe that a lot more than them being on land. There are, like, the Congo region and the Amazon. Still, you can even there, it's hard to hide nowadays, right? But somebody does bring up an interesting point, and that's where I always go when people say, well, where are they? I do believe it's some kind of interdimensional slip, some time slip, something like that. But he does want to ask you a question. Do you believe there's any type of interdimensional slip with the dinos? Is it possible people are seeing some sort of time slip? So,
Well, I can answer that real quick.
yeah.
Monster Radio. Hey Ryan, good to see you. Uh, well, what it's a possibility. Like let's look at, like, if you look at the Congo, there's all types of creatures being seen there that are supposedly dinosaurs.
Right.
So if these are dinosaurs, why are so many people? Why are so many of them being seen in one particular location? Maybe it could be some type of time distortion or time differentiation or time slip, because there's been instances of that before. Because
Right.
time itself is a wibbly wobbly, timey wimey thing in the first place. It's a lot of people don't realize it's not just linear sometimes.
Right.
So maybe if it's some type of interdimensional, maybe it's something like that. Maybe a dimension could slip into ours, something like that. I'm not an astrophysicist or a
Right.
quantum mechanics expert, so I'm not sure how that would work,
Yeah.
but it's a possibility. People have referenced things like that happening before, so
Yeah.
it's a possibility.
Well, I also think, if you were to ask me, I think it's the same thing with, ghost activity, like residual hauntings and stuff like that, where people see something, they say it was solid, as solid as you standing there right now. Why would, if there were dinosaurs in the past, which of course we've got the bones to prove it, I guess. So, what's to say that there's not a residual haunting of dinosaurs? If you go into the Congo and you witness this kind of dinosaur from the past, it's not a residual haunting. You know what I mean? The energy is still left there. uh it can work both ways, right? People, animals, dinosaurs, whatever, right?
Yeah, like look at, like, the stone tape theory, that certain things like limestone or water can hold an energy and just release it at any time.
Right.
Well, with that, I'd say that could be happening, but also, why would it only happen in one spot at such a constant rate? If you look around the globe, people are seeing phantom dinosaurs all the time,
Right.
or even phantom creatures. Like a friend of mine, another researcher, he said someone saw it was a saber-toothed cat, but when they saw it, it wasn't like it was there. It was like almost like a spirit almost.
Yeah.
And people have referenced ghost animals, so what if it's a ghost prehistoric creature?
Hmm.
But then you have the question of if it's something paranormal, that's in a ghost, would it be, would animal spirits be occurring? If there's animal spirits, would they also occur with cryptids? That's a whole other question right there. But it's a
Yeah.
possibility. Maybe it is something residual in the environment. But then you have questions like when people reference them being these creatures eating leaves or making footprints or making rakes in water. Would energy just do that, or is that showing something physically being there? Because I believe that's referencing something physically being there and a living creature. And
Right.
then you have to question if it's a living creature, is there a population? If there's a population, what's it feeding on? What's the ecology of it and all that?
Right. Yeah. No, you bring up some good points. I would counter with their, when it comes to residual hauntings or poltergeist activity or anything dealing with hauntings or anything like that, when sometimes when spirits or residual hauntings is what we're specifically talking about, happens, there is an energy source there, an energy. So if they're close to a tree and you start seeing movement, and you know what I mean, it
Yeah,
could still just be a residual haunting, but um, for there to be so many sightings, and especially the Congo region, in one specific area, uh, they could easily find that, right? I mean, that's not something that they would, say, well, they ventured off, and you would be able to find that. No?
yeah,
Yeah, so it's a tough question. Let's move to the Bigfoots and all that, because it's always a good topic to talk about. Derby girl, Bat Boy. Yeah, yeah. Listen, that's the Weekly World News. Is that what that is? Yeah, yeah. Is there a Bat Boy? I don't know. Is there a Bat Boy, Ryan?
possibly. You never know.
Yeah, it could be.
Batman's son, Batboy. Oh,
Yeah, well, that's us dreaming, right? The ones we love the monsters. We want to think that there's these strange creatures out there that are living. That's why the weekly news is still around. Anyways, Bigfoot, Yeti, swamp ape, you name it, they're all around the world. I know that there's sightings every day across the globe. What are your thoughts on it? What are they? Who are they? I mean, listen, I know it's a subject that's been beaten with a hammer to death, but my questions are, why are they adapted to their regions? If they're real, it makes sense, but if they're interdimensional, it almost doesn't make sense. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
are they real, and why are they so different and adapted to certain locations? Any idea?
Well, what it, I believe most of these relic hominoids are real because there's been reference to them for thousands of years, especially in oral traditions.
Right.
And I believe they are adapted to their environment because, for instance, a friend of mine, King Gerhard, he brings up if these creatures are interdimensional, why do they have hair? Why do they have all this stuff that is referencing a physical creature? If it was interdimensional, I don't think it would need hair or whatever. And I'm kind of the same way. I believe these are physical creatures, but adapted to their own environments. I don't believe a lot of people they have an idea that Bigfoot, Yeti, Yeren, Yowie, Nguni Moong, whatever you call these creatures are somehow interconnected, maybe the same species. Like a lot of people say Yeti and Bigfoot are just the same species but for different areas. I personally don't believe that because the adaptations are too far apart. For instance, I'll use Bigfoot and the Almasty of Russia. When people are referencing that, they don't see a large hairy creature like a Bigfoot. They see more of a human, more humanoid that can use tools and fire and has its own language. So a lot of people believe, especially Igor Botchev, one of the founding members of the I think it's Relic Hominoid Society of Russia. They believe it's not a hominid, it's not an ape, it's a human, some type of relic form of Neanderthal or Denisovan that survived in the Mongolian steppe and the Ural Mountains of Russia. While here in America, when you look at the anatomy and the behavior of this creature, it's much more non-human like. For instance, one thing that not a lot of people were referenced in the past, but I've done a good amount of study into, is the hand morphology. When we look at Sasquatch handprints, the
Mhm.
thumb's a lot lower down than humans. The fingers a lot stubbier and more gorilla-like. So that indicates a species that doesn't have what we call precision grip. How we can hold things between our fingers. This creature would have a very hard ability to do that.
Hmm.
The muscularity around its thumb is also not as pronounced. So that's indicating a more of a non-human primate. Of course, we have candidates like Gigantopithecus and things like that that I really don't. I'm not on the train of anymore. I
Mhm.
believe it might be some type of form of relic hominoid that's much older. I believe this is a species that isn't relatively new, that came around more in prehistoric times, and now has really evolved for a modern world.
Okay. And same goes to like the Yeti, the swamp ape. Everybody's got their own legends in different parts of the world.
Yeah,
You believe it's, same. Yeah, well, you believe it's different creatures, right? Or
yeah, because for instance, the Mandiburung of India, they reference more of a short humanoid creature, but it's more ape-like. That could be maybe a surviving Gigantopithecus in a way.
Hmm,
The Yowie of Aborigine stories of Australia reference a more human-like creature that it can almost sometimes is a lot more violent, and there's a possibility that maybe some type of human species, like maybe Denisovans or Homo erectus, have gotten down to Australia, then got larger to fit the megafaunal species that were in prehistoric Australia. The Ebogogo of Flores, there was literally Homo floresiensis, a short human primate that was only about 3 to 4 feet tall. During
yeah.
pandemic, you have a more of a orangutan-like creature that has a divergent big toe, like most other apes.
Mhm.
Maybe that could be what Ivan P. Sanderson thought was a bipedal orangutan, which could be.
Hmm.
So all these species have very similar phenotypic morphologies, but phenotypic is like how something's physically seen. Doesn't mean genotypic relation. Doesn't mean they're genetically related.
Right.
Like think of chihuahuas and rabbits. Both are
Right.
small, furry, and have big ears, but they're in no way related to each other. So it's a
Mhm.
possibility these creatures are on what we call convergent evolutionary routes, but may not be the same species.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, interesting. I mean, I still go to the fact that we haven't caught anything yet, or even pictures are very, very hard to come by, or video nowadays. I mean, it's just, yeah, which I understand. Usually nobody's got a camera or anything on them when they see something really quick, and they just go on by. But I still don't understand how we haven't been able to catch or prove them for 100%. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like the absence of evidence is very kind of hard to deal with, especially with cryptozoology. Because
Right,
the only good video we really have of Sasquatch was taken back in 1967 by Roger Patterson. If
right.
you believe that's a real video, which I
Yeah,
do.
I do
Uh,
too.
so like we have to deal with all this absence of evidence. So we have to kind of speculate on that. It could be maybe these creatures are not. I say they could be human-like intelligence on our level, but in a different way. We
Yeah,
have mathematics, religion, philosophy, technology. Well, if these creatures have the same intelligence as us, but went a different route, I don't think Bigfoot contemplates their own existence. They don't have the time for that. What they do have is adaptations to surviving in their environment. They have the ability to know the environment like the back of our hands. They can know how to hide. They know how to be elusive and cryptic. I think their intelligence is in that way,
yeah.
but they know how to hide from us.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, that's gotta be what it is if they're eluding us, that like I said, they're either really, really good at eluding us, and very, very few of them, because, if there was a very large population of any of these creatures, cryptids, whatever, you would know it, right? So it's either that or interdimensional. Listen, there's been many reports of them just like in snowbanks where the footsteps just stop. Where's what happened? You know what I mean? So I kind of wonder, am I on the side of maybe them being interdimensional? So just a differing opinion, I guess, on that.
Which it's always good to see because in this field we have so many different perspectives, and how I see it, we need to have all types of perspectives because if we only have one, then you kind of take out a lot of the evidence. Like
Right,
I'm a flesh and blood guy, but I see evidence for there being something else going on. What that
yeah,
something else going on is, I'm not sure. My
right.
research hasn't really gotten into that yet. But maybe one day I'll be like, okay, these creatures are maybe more than flesh and blood. Maybe there's something, another phenomenon occurring alongside these physical cryptids.
Yes, no, 100%. It's a tough thing to talk about when we don't have proof. But a lot of people would say, well, the proof is in all the sightings that we see. I have to mention real quick, Rob Fred H. Jr. here says, we were brought here from another galaxy. So we invaded the evolution cycle of Earth, actually. Listen, we're talking cryptid today, but I do want to talk about that just for a second. Just me. You can chime in if you want, Ryan. But
Cool.
I believe in that 100%. I believe there's so many different creatures, so many different cryptids, uh, you know, on the planet that have been seen. And hell, the missing link alone. We can dive into this. I've said this over and over and over. I do believe that to an extent. I believe that we have been tinkered with and we continue to be tinkered with, and whether this is a planet where they drop down some of these species and they have adapted in their areas and stuff like the Bigfoot and Yeti and stuff like that, it could be a possibility. But anyways, I'll stop there because that is probably another show. But I don't know what your thoughts are on that, Ryan.
What is the idea of like panspermia? The idea that we've been seeded in the past. It's a possibility. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, look at the origin of life and DNA strand. I think I forget who said it. I think it was Giorgio Tsoukalos that said the creation of DNA is like putting a tornado in the middle of a junkyard and creating a Boeing 747 that works.
Yeah.
It's kind of a crazy situation that they even happened. So,
Right.
was it somehow created by something else? Possibility. Well, has the human genome been tinkered with and affected by something else?
Right.
It's a possibility
All
because
possible. Yeah.
evolved very quickly.
Yes, yes, all possibilities and things I take into consideration when I talk about these subjects because hell, we love what's going on here in the stories and the lore, right? But we're still seeking answers, aren't we, Ryan? We really are.
Yeah,
Yeah. And Derby Girl does say, Rob, we are stardust, baby. Everything is made from stardust. Yeah. Everything is energy from the universe and is all connected in some way or another. But
yeah.
moving on, Ryan. How about like some of the other do you consider the Mothman and like the Jersey Devil being in kind of the same cryptid type category?
To an extent, yes. Because with me, I look at the Mothman phenomena, for instance,
Hmm.
and it's a very interesting creature because this is one cryptid that has other phenomena occurring alongside it, contemporary with it. Back during the Mothman sightings in Point Pleasant, you had, of course, Men in Black being seen. You had strange phone calls. You had strange lights being seen in the sky. You had weird animal killings. You had animals acting weirdly in a weird, like cats attacking people out of nowhere, birds flying against walls until they died, things like
Hmm.
that.
Yeah.
So there's other phenomena occurring alongside this creature, which causes me to think it's not just a physical creature; it's something else. Could it
Right.
be interdimensional, Could it be extraterrestrial? It's a possibility, but a lot of people connect Mothman and Jersey Devil alongside each other because, of course, they're large winged creatures.
Right.
Another cryptid I connect with the Mothman even more than the Jersey Devil is the Owlman uh,
Yes. Yeah.
of England because they're almost exactly the same. The
Just two different
Owlman,
locations. Yeah.
yeah, the Owlman of England. It was in Mana and Cornwall, and of course, it was physically described as like a half owl, half man, very similar to like how the Mothman was seen here in North America. But the phenomena, what happened alongside it, was almost the exact same. People were being seen in weird, strange black suits. There was strange phone calls at night. People would hear hissing on the TV and like fizzing on the TV out of nowhere.
Yeah.
There were more cryptid sightings in Cornwall at this time. So it's kind of funny how these two cryptids correlate to each other, not just how they are seen, but also phenomena occurring alongside them.
Yeah, no, 100%. I agree with you. Do you what are your thoughts on that footage? Have you seen the footage of the 911 aerial view from the helicopter? Is that a hoax? Is that something where there's a sort of a winged creature flying? Uh, have you seen that footage?
Actually, I've not. I've heard people reference it once or twice, but I've not seen it as of yet.
Huh. Okay. It's usually brought up when you talk about Mothman,
Hmm.
because it's a creature similar to that, although it was flying in midair, almost dragon-like, but um, was caught on camera, and I'm sure you can find it on YouTube. You can find
Yeah,
everything on YouTube.
honestly.
But yeah, check that out because that's very, very interesting. Going on to a different creature, which I'm always baffled by this creature. I could take the chupacabra. Um, I seen so many shows when this was going on where they were showing like dogs running down the street with mange and all this other stuff, but it is not that at all. It is more of a reptile type creature um, that I believe maybe was got either loose or which sounds incredible if from a lab down there, but the possibility is there. But got loose, and then there were all kinds of reportings down there in South America and even, I believe, the southern U.S. border.
Yeah,
Um,
primarily Puerto Rico.
yes, yes. What are your thoughts on the chupacabra? Real?
Well,
Like I said, what's your thoughts?
I believe it's real,
Okay.
but there's one thing I always like to differentiate with the chupacabra. Chupacabra means goat sucker.
Yes.
Chupacabra is describing a behavior, not a particular creature. Like whenever a creature is killed that somehow shows extermination or blood loss, people always say chupacabra. Like for sure, we know chupacabra came out the name in Puerto Rico back in the '90s. Since like a lot of chickens and goats and things like that were being killed down there, they called it the chupacabra. It wasn't until I believe it was a woman named what was her name? Valentino. She saw a weird creature one day, and there's a drawing of it. You can see it's almost like an extraterrestrial, but
Hmm.
with spines down its back. And she saw that. And since then, people put okay, that's the chupacabra, that creature right there.
Right.
But what they're referencing is more of a behavior set. The chupacabras that are seen here in Texas,
Hmm.
yeah, canine like. Those we
Right.
like to call now the Texas blue dog.
Right.
So I believe that's a totally different creature than what's seen down South America and then in Puerto Rico. I believe the one in Puerto Rico might be something more maybe alien like, extraterrestrial, while one here in Texas is most likely just a new species.
Okay, but totally two different types of animals then,
Yeah.
or creatures, cryptids, whatever. So you don't think? Oh, and Horror Junkie for Life. Thank you very much for the $10 super chat. Says evening all 72 hours until Turkey Day. Bonus points if you serve DD apple juice during mealtime. Peppy is hiding in a moment. I don't blame you. Thank you, Horror Junkie. Much love to you. Always appreciate it. Um, yeah, no. I listen. I've always thought that it probably was. It could be extraterrestrial. The one down there in the like Puerto Rico. Um, I always thought from everything I heard that it's probably something that was set loose, but it could be that too, definitely. A question from Connie Clary. She says Thunderbirds. Your thoughts on Thunderbirds?
Ah, Thunderbirds. Actually, that's one of my favorite cryptids to study. It was one of the cryptids that
Okay.
really got me into this field.
Hmm.
With Thunderbirds, there's two main types primarily seen here in North America. You have the avian type, and then you have the more saurian pterosaur type.
Hmm.
The one that the avian type, those primarily from, of course, the name comes from Native American stories. Stories go from Native American tribes, primarily Cherokee, Comanche, even parts of up in the Northeast, have stories of a large winged bird that's usually wingspan. A lot of these stories say they could get the size of large enough to carry a whale. Like some
Really?
Alaskan tribes reference birds that would go into the ocean and hunt orcas, and then bring orcas to the shore.
Wow.
That's
That's a
very
big
similar.
bird.
Yeah, that's very similar to the rook of Arabian stories. If you look at, I think it's a thousand, 101 nights, the story where Aladdin comes from, they reference the rook, which is a giant bird that can carry off elephants, drop elephants, then just feed upon them because they're that large.
Yeah.
But with more modern sightings of thunderbirds, they're referencing a creature that's a little bit more modest, a little bit more conservative. Wingspans are usually about 10 to 20 feet, which for a bird, that's still giant because usually a modern usual wingspan is like 6 feet, or like a
Right.
turkey buzzard or something. So, but if we look at it, we do have creatures like that within prehistory. We have Argentavis, which was a giant bird in South America that its wingspan could reach about 18 feet. The Teratons here in North America, which are actually more closely related to modern day vultures and buzzards, their wingspan could reach about 12 feet. So we have had giant birds in the past.
Hmm.
Now we have to bring up maybe are they dangers are like humans? Because like in the 1970s in Illinois, we had Marlon Lowe.
Hmm.
This was a young child that was supposedly picked up by one of these birds and flown up into the air.
Right.
And we have had fossil history that we've been hunted by birds in the past. Look at the Tong child. So it's a possibility these creatures could hunt small humans, and they could be surviving teratons. And now we have to question like the saurian ones, the more dinosaur-like creatures. Are these living pterosaurs? Because people reference seeing pterosaurs all the time. Like I'm from Texas, in South Texas, there's stories of what we call Big Bird. In the Rio Grande Valley, they reference a large creature with bat-like wings, long neck, a long beak, almost like what we have the Quetzalcoatl dinosaur. Quetzalcoatlus was the largest pterosaur to ever exist.
Yeah.
Now, was this a surviving Quetzalcoatlus? It's a possibility. Maybe because the sightings suddenly stopped, like out of nowhere.
Hmm.
So, did this creature move off? Did it die? Did it maybe go back into a portal to where it came in? You never know. It's a
Right.
possibility, especially when these. It's always interesting when these sightings just stop out of nowhere because then it's like, okay, why did this creature that I've seen 10, 20 times just suddenly stop being seen? That's kind of just an interesting thing to me because, like, does that mean something else is going on? Did it just disappear out of something else? It's just kind of
Right.
a weird little thing right there.
Oh yeah, no, that's why I think the interdimensional aspect of things explains a lot, but we still don't know if that's the case either. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
who knows? Maybe at points we get on the same kind of wavelength as dimensionally, and we coincide with each other, and then the shift moves us farther apart again. Who knows? Who
yeah.
knows? Right?
Because
Anything's possible.
yeah, like a lot of people bring it up nowadays as kind of a joke, but Schrodinger's cat, quantum physics, unless something is measured and measured and taken samples of, it can be anything.
Right.
It can be any type of matter, no matter what. So with these creatures and paranormal phenomena in the first place, it's not measured. It's not for surely taken like relations and things like that. So it could be anything. It could be physical. It could be non-physical. It could be interdimensional. It could be extraterrestrial. until we know for sure and we discover these creatures, anything could be the answer. Maybe it's an answer we haven't even thought of yet.
Right, yeah, until we know the facts, right? The
Yeah.
complete facts, 100% proof, anything's possible. It's funny, everybody, yeah, you guys are all talking Godzilla came up, and they're all talking Mothra and Gamera and all our favorite reptiles, right? Giant reptiles. Love it. Um, but John David says here, he goes, I heard a legend of a huge penguin that landed on St. Augustine Beach, Florida in the early 1900s, 8 to 10 feet tall.
I've
Have,
heard
have,
that story before, the St. Augustine Beach penguin story.
mm,
Supposedly, it was like it looked like a king, what we call an emperor penguin, but like double the size of what we now know they were. And
yeah,
it's interesting because St. Augustine is, of course, Florida. We don't have any penguins along the equator, at least for the western seaboard. So
right.
it's kind of this weird phenomenon of what we like to call a lobster, of an unknown species washing upon a beach and then kind of just disappearing after a while. Either someone takes the body or something happens. And that's happened plenty of times within the history of cryptozoology.
Yeah, it's a strange world, ain't it? I mean,
Yes.
uh, life in general is strange and peculiar, and uh, we don't know everything. So who the heck knows? I mean, for all we know, that could be something that we know that the government's working on plenty of things that they don't want to get out, and giant proportioned animals. I mean, it could possibly be. Who knows?
Yeah.
Um,
Because there's reference to giant animals all the time. People see giant spiders, giant snakes. People see giant, like there's giant bears up in Alaska, people see. This
yeah.
giganticism of species occurs all the time. Like one cryptid that's very scary to me, kind of, is giant arachnids. People see spiders that are 3 feet around,
All right.
and it's like, okay, I am good. Like that's something from Australia. I don't want that. I don't want that anywhere near my house.
No, my son does not like spiders at all, and he's 14. He's big enough now, and he's like, no, 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 no. We all have certain phobias and stuff like that, but yeah, big creatures have been reported all across the globe. Let's see, Edward Stewart, good to have you here. Good to see you finally made it. Penny's birthday tonight, so happy birthday to Penny. Awesome to hear. Happy birthday to her. Connie Clary says, question: Native American crypto like the Wendigo. Thoughts on the Wendigo?
The Wendigo. This is a very interesting creature. Uh, Interesting because I kind of don't classify as a cryptid. It kind of
Mm,
because honestly, if we look at the Algonquin stories of the Wendigo,
mhm.
it's a human that has consumed human meat, so they become cannibals, and sooner or later they morphologically change to what we now know as the Wendigo.
Yeah.
But I'll ask you this: when you think of Wendigo, what do you think? What do you think it looks like?
I think we're getting into more of the supernatural when you start
Yeah,
talking about that, like
yeah,
shadow people, shadow figures, shapeshifters,
yeah,
stuff like that. So yeah, Wendigo, I think of like kind of a human type form. Um, but yeah, I think we're getting into supernatural with that. Not a
yeah.
real, yeah. I think you're on the same page with me there.
Yeah, it's a. I think it's a supernatural creature. It's not what. It's not like a some type of creature that's somehow evolved and adapted in wildlife. I think it's something supernatural, like the Skinwalker, the Yinahu of
Yeah,
of Navajo stories.
right.
It's purely supernatural,
Yeah,
in which I study it sometimes, but it's a what I like to call a subset of cryptozoology. I like to call paracryptozoology, the more paranormal creatures seen around the world, like the Wendigo, the Skinwalker, Mothman, Jersey Devil. These creatures can't have physically adapted. There's no precedent for a flying humanoid. There's no precedent for a giant cannibal that can eat humans. So, but with other creatures, there are biological precedent for them. Those are just the regular cryptids like Bigfoot, uh, things like maybe the black cat phenomenon, things like that. But a
yeah.
lot of these cryptids get a lot of attention because they're more awe-inspiring. Like think even like the dogman phenomena that's occurred in recent years.
Hmm. Oh yeah, no, 100%. I think I'd like to just for my own enjoyment, if you know anything about it, because I'm from Ohio here. Uh, any cryptids that you're that you know about? I know there's the Frogman
Yeah.
uh, from Loveland, Ohio. That was kind of a big thing. But anything about the Frogman or any other Ohio cryptids that you know about? Other
Yeah,
than the Bigfoot. Other than the Bigfoot. We know
I
the
don't know Bigfoot because that always gets the attention. Like Ohio grassman. When you think Ohio
yes,
grassman,
yes.
you always think that.
Yep. Yep.
I think one big one is I believe I've seen in the Ohio River was a green clawed beast. What people were referencing was a something kind of similar to like the frogman, but think of more uh, creature from the Black Lagoon, pretty much.
Hmm.
People were being scratched and attacked by some type of weird creature in the water. And soon enough, when people would see something, they would see what looked like almost like a human hand, but with webbing, and it was like green. It was green, so it was more lizard-like. And so people, when they thought when they supposedly seen it, it was more akin to like a lizard man-like creature, but it lived underneath the water. And
Hmm.
one woman, I believe, was attacked by it. And when they took samples of the scratches, came back as an unknown reptilian. And also, the mud that was on the claw marks came from like the deepest part of the river. And I
Hmm.
believe this occurred in the Ohio River, where it connects to the Mississippi. So they believe maybe it's some type of weird lizard man creature living in the Ohio River. And another one that of course bring up is the coastal Loveland frog.
Right.
This was seen back in Loveland, Ohio, and of course this gets a lot of attention because this is how strange this creature is. Think of like half human, half frog creature, 3 to 4 feet tall, and some stories say they had a wand almost. One creature had like a sparkler thing that would sparkle lights. So it's like, weird, interesting little creature seen down there.
Yeah.
I know a officer down there said he shot at this creature and hit it, and then when you looked at it, it was actually just a iguana, but without a tail. But
Hmm.
earlier witnesses said, no, that is not what I saw. I did not see an iguana. This thing was walking on 2 legs. This was something that was bipedal. Iguanas, of course, are not that. So it's kind
Right.
of a weird. Maybe it's something that lived in the water. Maybe it's just a weird little cryptid seen out there in Loveland. I don't think there's any recent sightings of it. I think the last sightings occurred back in the '80s. I don't
Yeah.
think haven't been anything recent down there.
Yeah. No, no, that's yeah, very interesting, a frogman. Um boy, we can get off into some I'm going to this could be alien related, but listen, what are your thoughts on the reptiles? Listen, lots of people talk about reptiles being here, and they do refer to them as aliens. I want to get your take on uh, if you think that, or what your thoughts are on, because they're said to live in the earth, under the ground. What are your thoughts on that?
The reptoid phenomena.
Yes.
It's an interesting one. There's a lot of story. There's been supposedly stories of strange humanoid saurians in human history for thousands of years. There's supposed references from Native Americans, from the Aztecs, from Mesopotamia, from Egypt, of these weird human reptiles. In recent years, we've especially seen it. Of course, you have the more, I don't want to say outlandish, but
Mhm.
outlandish way of like reptilians are controlling the government and things like that. More conspiratorial ideas. But
Yeah.
in kind of a cryptozoological sense, you have like things like the lizard man. You have maybe even the lizard man escape a swamp. You have like the Loveland frogs. People think that might be some type of reptilian. I believe if these creatures are real, there would have to be either something extraterrestrial, or some have brought up the idea of maybe it being some type of dinosaur. A dinosaur that's evolved and adapted to become more humanoid,
Mm,
which I don't really agree with because that's just not how evolution works. A lot of
yeah.
people have this erroneous idea that with adaptation and evolution, everything is trying to become human. Like that's the ultimate goal. Well, the ultimate goal for some weird
Mm,
reason. But
right.
that's it. evolution and environment, just ecology doesn't work like that.
Right.
We are like we are because of a niche. We found a niche and we survived there.
Yeah.
Other animals, if becoming humans, very actually honestly very hard.
Yeah.
But our brains are so large, we have to eat so much in a day. Being bipedal is actually very bad for our backs. Like, think of how many people have back problems. So, technically, from a purely morphological perspective, being human is very difficult and something not a lot of people, not a lot of animals would ever want to be like. So, if this was something that was more of a humanoid reptilian, maybe it's something extraterrestrial. Because, of course, you have stories of the Greys and reptoids and mantis like extraterrestrial. So maybe it's something in on that sense. Because even then, a lot of alien species have that more anthropomorphized aspect to them. They have
Yeah.
two arms, two legs, and a head. And from a lot of biologists, they say, well, with aliens and things like that, why would they be using the human, like the basic human form? It's
Right.
we don't know what form they'd be using. So with the reptoid phenomena, it's possibly something extraterrestrial if they are somehow on Earth. I don't I don't know anything about that's not really what I researched. That's more of a
Right.
conspiratorial idea. But there
Oh yeah.
are some references in history of some type of reptoid human race living on Earth.
Hmm.
Because we have, I believe, one big one was Los Angeles. People were saying there was some type of city under Los Angeles that was controlled by reptoids, things like that.
Yeah. Yeah, mostly conspiracy type stuff, but yeah, no, it's all about adaptation. Not, I mean, evolution is one thing, but yeah, we are not something you want to thrive to be like because we've got too many issues and too many problems as a human species, right? I do agree. Like, and Derby Girl does say in the chat, which I agree 100%. To believe that everything wants to be like us is very self-centered. Yep, yep, yep.
Yeah, a
Um,
very anthrocentric view of the universe.
exactly. I mean, like you said, we've got way too many issues. Is there a specific uh cryptid that we haven't talked about that you would like to touch on?
Well, I'm trying to think of one big one
Oh,
that's. But go
okay, go
ahead.
ahead. I was going to say it totally left my brain, but now it came back because you said you're in Texas, right?
Yes.
Or down there. Uh, what are your thoughts on a lot of the goings on in the eastern part of Texas, there, Louisiana? You know, all that you know, forested area that they talk about that is there, and people have talked about feral men, all different types of cryptids and creatures that have been sighted in that area. Have you done any research there?
Actually, I have. Like, only, yeah, last month now. Back in October, I went to the Jefferson Bigfoot conference out in East Texas.
Hmm.
And that's one of the biggest conferences here in the South.
Okay.
And that's primarily based on Bigfoot, but there's a lot of other cryptids seen out in East Texas. Like, I've heard reports of one man was driving at night by, I believe it was Marshall, Texas, when something crossed the road. And of course, when something big crosses the road, he immediately thought it was on two legs. He thought Bigfoot.
Hmm.
But when he looked at it, it wasn't. It was something more. It was more canine-like. He described backward-facing legs, a long muzzle, tall ears. So he's like, I don't know what I saw. Did I see Bigfoot? I'm like, well, it doesn't sound like he saw Bigfoot because Bigfoots are not described like that. He had no idea what he was referencing. What he was referencing was a dog man. These
Yeah, dog man or werewolf type creature. Yeah.
Yeah, these bipedal canines have been seen in more modern years, and especially in Texas.
Mm.
Like a friend of mine, Aaron Dees, he's working on the Dogman Triangle right now. That's based up in just a couple miles north of San Antonio, where I live,
Mm.
and area with a lot of dogmen I've seen. And especially in East Texas, you have like the black cat phenomena. People are
Yeah.
seeing black panthers in the local forests where they're non-indigenous. And that brings up like, is it an invasive species? Is it like a black leopard or black jaguar that's been released out there? We
Hmm.
don't know for sure. But
Yeah.
with Texas, there's a lot of weird cryptids being seen down here that not a lot of people realize are being seen down here.
Well, it's good land to hide out and thrive and live in, right? I mean, that forested area, I think, like I forget how big they said it was, but it's a pretty large chunk of area that you could very easily just, get lost in, similar to the Amazon, the Congo, and even the Appalachian Mountains up over here. There's quite a long stretch in the northeast part of the United States in the Appalachian Mountains where, you know, it's easy to get lost up in there and you'll never be found again. You know what I mean? So uh, there are places still out there,
Yeah,
Uh,
like if you look at like East Texas, for instance, the forested areas down there, it's so thick that you can't even see 5 feet in front of you in the woods. And like
right.
the creek bottoms and the river bottoms are all places where creatures could hide. Like if you are a fan of the Legend of Boggy Creek,
Yes.
and the Legend of Boggy Creek, they always follow the creeks, which is very true. There's so many river bottoms and rivers and creeks. No wonder these creatures get moved around so much. They could follow creek beds from northeast Texas all the way down south to the coast of Mexico. So yeah,
Hmm.
these natural corridors where these creatures can move, and even in parts of all across the United States, people don't realize how much green there is in North America. Like I tell people, next time you're on a flight, look out the window and realize how much of that land is not city and it's truly farmland or it's forest or it's swamp. You don't realize how much is out there.
Oh yeah, I always say, get in a plane from the East Coast and fly to the West Coast, and yes, you will see how much land is just sitting there uninhabited without people, or like you said, even farmland, which there's a little house with people in it, and then
If it
acres
comes,
upon acres, yeah, that's
yeah,
easily could walk by and never be noticed. So, um, so yeah, no, definitely. Interesting stuff. Yeah, we're getting ready to hit the bottom of the hour here, but Ryan, I'm glad you were able to get on with us. Let's talk about your show really quick. Um, well, and your book and everything. What's your book about? I know you can get there from your website with the link in the description below. You can give it out. I don't have it memorized. www.
the cryptochronicles.net.
Okay, www.thecryptidchronicles.net.
Yes, that's
And yeah, and there you can get your book at only Barnes and Noble. Is that the only place it's at right now?
it's available Barnes and Noble, Half Price Books, Amazon. I didn't put the Barnes and Noble link. I think that was the least expensive link I saw. So I was like,
Okay,
hey, let me just give this one out and it's a little bit more not as buggy as all the time because Barnes and Noble is more of a
okay,
trusted website for me. So I put that one, but it's also available on Amazon, Half Price Books. Pretty much anywhere you can find books, you most likely find it there.
okay. And the name of the book is Cryptids of the World by
Yes.
by Ryan Edwards. And you also have a podcast only on YouTube, or can they find it on iTunes and all that other good stuff too?
Is only on YouTube at this point, but I'm trying to move into like iTunes, Spotify, and all that stuff pretty
Gotcha.
soon. But I'm just so busy with other stuff. I just haven't had the time to do the transfer over into more streaming networks.
Yeah, no, that sounds good, man. I do appreciate you. Sorry about the mix up in times, but I'm glad you got on and we were able to talk for a good hour.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, definitely. Thank you very much. And hopefully I'll talk to you in the future.
of course. I'd love to be back on the show and
Yeah,
maybe be on there without being late for 30 minutes.
that's all right. That's all right. It was all cool, man. Thanks, Ryan Edwards. Everybody go check out his link in the description and all that good stuff. And you take care, bud. Okay.
Of course.
Okay. Bye bye. Bye, Ryan. Okay, so that was Ryan Edwards. Definitely check out his stuff if you guys are interested in cryptids and all that other good stuff. Let's see. Catching up real quick here. Overnight tonight, you guys, we do have an all-nighter. I got timestamps in there, like Denny said. timestamp. What did you say? Timestamp Mondays. Very cool. Yes, yes, yes. It was a good show. Got to a rough start, but we got going there. And yes, overnight tonight we have a little bit of horror mixed in with the detectives. So hopefully you guys enjoy tonight's stream. I know everybody wasn't up for the Gildy last night. The Great Gildersleeve is fantastic, and I can't believe that everybody wasn't all happy to see some comedy for a change. But anyways, all good, all good, all good. But yes, I am going to get ready for that stream now. A Crazy Jacko, no, I missed it. Woohoo, timestamps. Yeah, listen, I just can't get to them all the time, man. But I try. And tonight you got them, and you can look at it, and it's going to be a good stream, a good stream. You see some familiar shows, but there's a lot of different episodes, so I'm always mixing them up for you guys. Awesome show for real. Thank you. Well, I do appreciate every one of you guys. Horror Junkie, thank you for the super chat. And yeah, we got another paranormal show on Thursday, so I should look that up real quick for you guys. Although I'm sure you'll see it in your feed. But Wednesday, tomorrow, nothing at 8 o'clock. Wednesday, The Bad Seed, 1956, with Kathy will be substituting on Wednesday for Ginger. She's at her family's having a Thanksgiving with her family, and hopefully you enjoy that, Ginger, very much. And then nothing Thursday. Maybe I'll put up a classic Paranormal into the Night show. I'm not sure what I'm going to do Thursday because Friday night we got movie night, and it's by Dave Plouffe gave me it, and he's been a patron forever. And I figured he gave me a poll, we're going to do it, and it's Cannonball Run, Scavenger Hunt, It's a Mad, 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 Mad World, and Midnight Madness. And again, I'm a little shocked. I Midnight Madness seems to be from 1980, seems to be winning on both platforms at the moment. I'm a little shocked. I thought it would either be a Mad, 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 Mad World or Scavenger Hunt, but look at me. I don't know. So it is what it is, but it should be fun. And either way, it's going to go longer unless it's Midnight Madness. I don't think it's a 2-hour movie. But if a Mad, 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 Mad World, it would just go over, and I would have 2 streams going, whatever. So it's all good. But thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm not nervous. Should I be nervous? No, you shouldn't be nervous, Rich. Rich Cat Ranch. No, we're going to just sit down and enjoy a good conversation and talk about the movie. I've never seen it before. So it looks like it gives me Twilight Zone vibes, maybe because of the black and white, and it's the bratty girl she's a bad seed, like the Twilight Zone episode with anyways, who knows? If it's bad, you're gonna hear it from me. But it's all good. Honestly, the comedy shows are hard to sleep to because of the audience laughter. You know what, RTN? That's exactly what I was thinking when I was thinking about it last night, because I'm like going, oh, we're only at 120, and it's like we should be like 300 right now, and I'm like going, oh no. But listen, I get it. Yeah, with the laugh tracks, it keeps you up. It's not as easy to sleep to, and I know a lot of everybody who comes here for the overnight streams come for to sleep to them, to fall asleep to these great shows. That's what I do. And but hey, every once in a while I got to throw up a comedy, so there you go. Point well taken. Midnight Madness, Michael J. Fox, Eddie Deason. Woohoo. Yeah, no, it's a great movie. But I mean, all the classic comedians in it's Mad, 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 Mad World. Anyways, okay, I'm gonna get off of here, you guys. This was a crazy one, but I think it was enjoyable. Hopefully you guys enjoyed me this Paranormal to the Night. That's what makes every show special, right? So with that said, much love and peace to each and every one of you. Pray for Emily and her husband, and hopefully we'll see her soon in the chat. Connie Clary can sleep through it. Yeah, I can usually too if I put it down low enough. But anyways, much love to each and every one of you. Changed his name to Coffee Shop of Horrors. Look at that. Coffee Shop of Horrors says, ooh, it worked. There you go. Definitely go get some coffee, man. I think the Late Horror Show Chocolate Mint will be up there eventually here. Yes, and you can send me in your pictures, and I'll show them on the stream. It'll be fun until your daddy takes the T-Bird away, I guess. But yes, coffee. It's a good thing you changed your name like that, so now everybody knows. It's easy. It's easy, man. Follow it, Coffee Shop of Horrors. And I invited you, if you're willing. You always send me a message. I'd love to have you on to talk about your coffee and your business and everything else like that. So there you go. I think it's a sweet thing, and to help you guys out, that would be awesome. So anyways, I'm out of here. Soonish we are working on finishing up the edits on the new site. No.